there's many moments with Apu that are boiled down to just like cliche
I think
stereotypes.
Apu is a fun side character.
Yeah.
But when you put him as the main character, holy fuck do those episodes suck.
Really? Okay.
Season 7, episode 23, Much Apu About Nothing.
Yeah. When those immigrants get deported, there'll be a lot more elbow room for regular Joes like you and me, Apu.
Mr. Simpson, it may astonish you to learn that I am an immigrant.
You? I don't believe it.
Is this the one where he has to travel to India?
No. That's Homer and Apu.
That's Homer and Apu.
This is the deportation episode. This is the political immigrant episode.
Oh, is this the immigrants?
Let me get into it.
Okay.
So the opening of this episode.
You have to refresh my memory.
Yeah, the opening of this episode is fucking hilarious because you could take this open and put it into anything, but it opens with a bear wandering into Evergreen Terrace.
Yeah. This is the bear,
Yeah. But it's only the first 3 minutes of the episode. So a bear wanders into Evergreen Terrace, everyone's freaking out.
Ned Flanders.
Yeah. They capture the bear, and it sparks a public outcry to the mayor that they need a bear patrol. That the potential threat of bears wandering into neighbors in Springfield is so severe that they need a dedicated task force for bear patrols, which leads to one of my favorite Homer and Lisa moments in the entire series.
Not a bear in sight. The bear patrol must be working like a charm.
That's specious reasoning, Dad.
Thank you, honey.
By your logic, I could claim that this rock keeps tigers away.
Oh, how does it work?
It doesn't work.
Uh-huh.
It's just a stupid rock.
Uh-huh.
But I don't see any tigers around here, do you?
Lisa, I want to buy your rock.
Lisa
pulls out his wallet.
Yeah, Lisa, I would like to buy your rock. That, again, Lisa works so well.
That's one of the best written jokes.
When you pair her with an adult. And that sequence is so I've watched that clip so many times.
Yes.
The bear patrol's working like a charm. It doesn't work. It's just a stupid rock. But I don't see any tigers around, do you?
Lisa, I'd like to buy your rock.
It's so good.
And then he checks his taxes.
So then this leads to the mayor, of course, has to increase property taxes to cover the extra cost of a bear patrol because, of course, it's super expensive.
And they've got like helicopters.
Yeah,
it's
like,
ridiculous.
It's like the bear patrol is like complete nonsense. Yeah. There's like round the clock like cars that say bear patrol on it, like driving around. The town forms a mob, as they do all the time in the show. It's a running gag in the show.
Yeah. And then Quimby has those great lines about the town wants the thing, but they don't want the thing. That's
right.
Yeah.
So the town is like, you need to lower. We want the bear patrol, but you can't raise our taxes.
Yeah.
So then Mayor Quimby comes up with a clever scapegoat. In order to skirt the issue, he blames illegal immigrants in Springfield for the tax hike.
People, your taxes are high because of illegal immigrants. That's right, illegal immigrants. We need to get rid of them.
Immigrants. I knew it was them. Even when it was the bears, I knew it was them.
Yeah.
Do you remember this?
Oh, yeah.
And he proposes Proposition 24, which is they're going to deport all illegal immigrants. Yeah, it's Prop 24.
I knew it was the immigrants. Even when the bears, I knew it was them. Like Moe's line, immigrants.
Something like that.
Yeah.
This leads to Apu fearing being deported as he is actually an illegal immigrant. It gets revealed that he came here for school.
Over. That's funny. The idea that like the corrupt politicians are just like, we'll distract the public with like an immigrant crisis. Like
I'm getting to it. I'm getting to this. I'm just want to wrap up the plot.
For
so
me.
The whole thing is Apu is afraid he's going to get deported because it turns out actually he is working there illegally.
Yeah.
Because
so
he came there for school. And then once he finished school, he just didn't go home. That's a huge thing with immigrants. Like that is a major problem. Is like often they will come for school and they have like a school visa, and then they just stay here and just keep working, but they don't go through the proper like what you're supposed to for immigration.
Yep. Yeah.
That's a huge controversy. It's more of a thing in the States than it is in Canada. In Canada, we have no borders, folks. Apparently, we let the world in. Apparently, it's very different than in the States. In the States, it's a very like they're all about walls, and it's more of a hot button issue. Not to get too political, which is exactly what this episode does. Gets way too fucking political. It is way too political and preachy. That's what this episode is. It's another example of it's just not funny. It's not a very funny episode. It's just like is this fucking Bill Maher? Like, is that what, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like this isn't the platform to get so in the weeds about like immigration. And it's also weird because you're using the character Apu, who's voiced by a white guy who some people find offensive. So when you watch it again, it's even more.
It's been a while
layers upon layers
since
to
I've
it.
watched it. So I remember that opening with the
bear.
the bear,
It's
and
amazing.
then the mayor fooling the town with the immigration thing. But once it cuts over to Apu, I don't recall like what exactly happens with him. Becomes focused.
So the whole
on
thing
him?
is Apu he enlists the Simpsons' help to pass the immigration test. That's all it is.
Okay.
And then he's like, I need to pass the test. And then Homer is trying to tutor him. And of course, Homer's doing a terrible job.
Of course, Homer does a terrible job.
Lisa does a good job. And then he ends up passing. And the dark part of the episode is everyone, like, there's like some public town moment where it's like, see, immigrants are great for our country. Because obviously the world benefits if we have less borders and we're more one world as opposed to a bunch of divided nations.
Yeah.
Right. Duh. But the dark part of the episode is even after all this comes out, they still pass Proposition 24.
Oh, okay.
That's the dark part of the episode.
Oh.
So it still passes.
That's dark.
Well, but the idea is like, it's a comment.
It's a real. Actually
American viewers and listeners, don't get offended because this is the show saying this. But basically, the show is saying, "Hey, all you idiots, you don't get the point. Like you're still too close-minded to immigration policy."
Yeah.
That's what the show is saying. It's just way too fucking preachy for me. It's way too like it's just a political episode, but it's not fun. Like you can't even remember the shit with Apu because it's not fun.
I don't remember much about it.
It's a drama. The second half after the bear shit gets out of there, it's not fun anymore.
I guess it's telling that I vividly remember the bear thing, but
nothing else.
I don't really remember the Apu thing.
So I am going to get to my next pick because let me catch up a bit. So
that was your
my final point is Apu as a character works so much better as a side character, but not the main character. When you make him the main plot, I don't think it works very well. I think he works better as a funny one-off side character. Again, not trying to get into the controversy of who does his voice. Again, I don't really care as much about that. To me, that doesn't interest me. I get he's supposed to be a stereotype. Stereotypes aren't supposed to be funny anymore. There was a time in our culture where we would all joke about stereotypes. Now it's not as accepted. My counter to that is, I don't know. I think stereotypes are funny. Like I'm Italian. I'm not full Italian, but like if you made some jokes about like, I don't know, we all own pizza shops or whatever. It's like, can it be funny? Sure. I do think it's low basic humor. Like it's lowbrow. It's easy humor.
Yeah.
But you're not going to see me raise a pitchfork and be like, how dare you talk about my Italian heritage like that? We're not all a bunch of fucking spaghetti slurping, mafia guys.
Yeah. The subject in general is something we're more critical of nowadays and more willing to examine, whereas it just was taken at face value back in the 90s.
Yeah, right. So I think if Hank Azaria wasn't the voice of Apu, it would be less of a controversy, personally. But I don't actually know how they solved that. Like, I don't know because I haven't watched Simpsons on the show anymore.
20 years.
Yeah,
the modern Simpsons.
But I always Apu. They gave him enough depth where he was interesting. I don't have a problem with the character, but I know a lot of people. I don't like these Apu episodes not because of the controversy of Apu. I don't like them because they're not good episodes. But other people now are like, oh, the Apu shit's unwatchable. Because they have now turned it into a cause.
I don't. The other problem is I don't know how far it's gotten. Because what I meant to say was like, I don't think I've watched Simpsons past like the mid teenage seasons.
I would have gone to like
14. Who knows what depths the show has gotten to? Because I did like from beyond like season 14 to 35 or whatever. I have no idea. So that's another thing.
Okay, so speaking of another Apu episode, my number 4. From season 9, so you couldn't have had this one.
Oh, okay.
Season 9, episode 8, The Two Mrs. Nahasapeemapetilons.
10 goats and an electric fan? You call that a dowry? Okay, we will throw in a textile factory, but only because Manjula is getting on in years.
Then it is agreed. Your third daughter will marry our first son.
It is done.
This is the Manjula intro
Is this
episode.
the marriage one?
Yes. Okay.
Probably just filled with cliches and stereotypes of Apu
And
like
Indian culture.
Indian culture.
That's literally the whole
Probably
episode.
offensive. Probably like
Slightly.
ignorant of like what they're talking about.
Slightly.
that
Yeah.
kind of thing. And
So-
probably not very funny.
It's very not. It's just nothing.
Yeah.
So it opens with Krusty Hope hosting a charity men's auction. It's probably one of the funnier moments. And all the Springfield bachelors. It's like Mo and
I think I
Barney,
remember that.
and it's
Yeah.
like they're trying to raise money for like the fire department, and it's like they come out and then like no one bids on them, and then there's an area that just says rejects, and they have to stand in the rejects, and then like later it flash forwards, and it's like Kurt Van Houten's there,
Yeah.
Mo's there, Barney's there. I don't remember who else. I think the sea captain's there. It's like, so it's like the idea is all the men. I think comic book guy might be there. It's all of the majority of the men in Springfield are kind of undesirable to date.
Yeah,
that's the joke.
This isn't. I just want to point out again. This is interesting because you have ones from like 9 and 10 that I'm like, oh, what the hell is this? Like,
Right.
by capping at 8, I'm like, oh shit! Like I don't recall
Right.
what this one is.
Well, we're
So,
gonna get
yeah.
to my breakdown of 9 and 10. 'Cause-
Yeah.
Anyways, so
Okay.
So then Marge is like, Apu, you're a successful, bachelor. You have your own business. You should put yourself forward. So she kind of pushes Apu into it, and it creates a bidding war. And it turns out Apu is a hot commodity because, for one, he's educated. He has like a college degree. He has a successful business. He's extremely hardworking, and he's a decent looking guy. So he's a hot bachelor, and this kicks off like a little montage of Apu like basically going on dates of random women in Springfield.
Yeah.
It's a little montage. But then he receives a letter from his mother that it is time for his arranged marriage. Because remember, arranged marriage is a big thing in India.
Yeah.
And actually some Asian countries as well still have arranged marriages. So
Yeah.
that's a real thing.
Yep. Yeah.
When he receives the letter, he's panicked about it, but he ignores it. But then his mother from India shows up because she shows up to make the marriage happen or something, or for whatever reason she comes for a visit.
Be present for the.
I don't quite remember. I don't know
Yeah.
how, but she shows up, and then Apu's like, "What do I do? What do I do?"
So then it becomes like a classic slapstick thing. Like that's such a cliche of old comedy where it's like, the mother's shown up unexpectedly.
Right.
We have to tiptoe around a subject.
Wild, wacky shenanigans.
Yeah.
So then some of the funnier things I found in this episode were, so Homer's in the store while Apu's like freaking out, and he's like, what do I do? What do I do? He's like, I don't want to get married, but he's like, but if I don't get married, my mother will disown me, and then Homer's just like, then get married. What the hell do you want from me? Which is kind of a funny thing because it's like, what? Yeah, Homer's just like a customer. It's like, why the fuck is he asking Homer's advice? Yeah, but I thought that was one of the better like Homer lines of like, what do you want me to do in this?
What am I going to do?
Tell her the truth. You're not ready to get married.
No. You do not know, Mother. She will never quit until I am married.
Then just tell her you're already married.
No, I cannot lie to my mother.
Then get married. What the hell do you want from me?
And then I found it funny that as the Apu's mother's like walking up, he sees her get out of like a cab, and Apu's freaking out. She's like walking up to the Quickie
entrance,
Mart,
yeah.
and Homer's trying to explain, or Apu's like trying to explain to Homer, is like, what, like now I'm screwed, right? Because like my mother's here, and Homer's just kind of like not even reacting. And then Apu's like, I don't have time to explain this to you, like, and randomly Apu's mom just like falls. She's just like, she trips. She's like, and then he's like, yes, that'll buy me a little bit of time. Like,
What?
his own mother she just falls. That was it. But Apu's like, all right, that
Buys me enough time to explain the circumstances.
to think of a solution.
Think of a solution.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, think about it now. This should have actually been less than much Apu About Nothing, but whatever. The resolution, or the scheme, the idea that come up with is Marge is going to pretend to be Apu's wife.
I forgot about this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is where the whole thing sucks shit from this point on.
This is why I cut off at season 8 is like for shit like this.
So Apu moves in with the Simpsons and tells his mother that he's been married to Marge, so that's why he can't marry his arranged wife, and he also has 3 children that don't look like Apu. They're all white kids.
Yeah.
The mother, of course, is not really buying it, and of course Homer can't now stay at home, so he goes and moves in with Grandpa at the retirement home, which that could have been really funny. But none of it.
With it?
No, none of it's particularly funny. The only he pretend there's another resident that for whatever reason isn't there, and they think it's Homer, so he just starts pretending to be that resident.
Is this? But this isn't the one where he's like, "Here I am using my legs like a sucker." Is that this?
Yeah, it's that one.
Okay, well that's pretty good.
It's okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, it's evidence of too stupid Homer.
Yeah, too far.
Yeah, too stupid Homer is like.
What is that? Oh, it's an iron lung. Here I am using my lungs like a sucker, like that kind of thing. Like
where it's like you're pushing it too far.
Too far.
Yeah, too far. I don't like too dumb Homer. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. There's a word. I can't think of a word for it, but I know you know what I mean. It's when.
Well, this is what 10 or 9.
This is 9.
We've crossed the Rubicon at this point. Like
Homer's gotten too. This is evidence of that though. Yeah. So. The ruse inevitably falls apart, and Apu is forced to fulfill his arranged marriage with a wedding in the Simpsons' backyard. And it's like an Indian wedding. Apu and Manjula. Okay, so it's dumb in that like Apu the whole time Apu's like, I gotta get out of this. I'm loving being a bachelor. Like I don't want to be tied down.
He's nervous.
Right.
Yeah.
But then he meets Manjula, and Manjula's like, yeah, I wasn't too keen about it either. And then he just like instantly is like, you know what? This could work. Let's just get married.
I am so torn. You are clearly so quick-witted and beautiful.
And when I look in your eyes, I see that sweet little boy who sold me my very first kiss. And I liked it.
Oh, do you think this marriage could really work?
Who knows? We can always get divorced.
Of course. God bless America.
Yeah.
So that entire fucking plot was for nothing.
Yeah.
It's just a pointless episode. And then, like, it has the only weight to the episode is they add Manjula to the cast. So they've changed up whose character where now he's married.
Now he's married.
And he has a wife.
He has a wife. Yeah.
But Manjula literally only exists just for plot purposes. She has no depth. Like she's a pointless character.
We don't see any of her perspective of like any stuff.
No,
I can't think.
And in later episodes, all she is a nagging wife to Apu. She exists only for plot purposes.
Yeah,
she's literally just there to be like, Apu, that's it.
Lame.
Yeah, lame. You know who works better to pair with? Sanjay. Sanjay was a great pair with Apu. I loved when Sanjay and Apu would have like little schemes. I liked when you would see the two of them in the Quickie Mart together.
Yeah.
I liked that because that to me felt more believable because often a lot of foreign families will all take a business over.
Yeah.
I don't even know I think it's Sanjay might be his cousin or something.
I don't know. He's not very fleshed out
Well, they basically write him out of the show. Once Manjula shows up, that's it. I don't think Sanjay ever shows up anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know, but interesting.
It's crap. My last point. Could have been an interesting commentary on the concept of arranged marriages, but instead it's just kind of condoning it.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I don't feel like they're equipped at this point to even dissect like Indian culture.
You know what I mean though? But like arranged marriages is a kind of a big nuanced topic. There's a lot to talk about.
Well, it's you're talking about like entire culture of like human beings and stuff like that. There's a lot tied into that, like family and history.
It's a big,
things.
Weighty topic that you kind of can't summarize and or like really get into the weeds much on in a 22 episode of a cartoon
where you're trying to be funny and you're trying to just like it's just
it's a poor choice.
I can see why
subject.
You picked this one,
and I also just don't like the idea of like in the end it's like
whatever.
They're kind of criticizing it a little bit, but then they're like. Nah, it works out. It's like, so they're not criticizing
Okay.
it. So it's like,
I don't know.
you're not really taking a stance one way or the other. You're not. It's just a lame episode. Fuck this episode.
Yeah.
There you go. The two. Those are I fucking hate those episodes. They're both Apu-led episodes. Homer and Apu's okay.
I like Homer and Apu.
Well, that's got the legendary James Woods cameo.
Oh,
is that
yeah,
one?
yeah. And the song's fun. And like, it's not one I revisit all that often.
It's not one of my best. A lot of people love that episode. I don't like it as much. Again, I think Apu works better as a side character who gets little moments.
Yeah.
Then he's a fun recurring character in the world of Springfield.
Yeah. My favorite Apu moment of all time is when Skinner comes in and he's like, I've got an idea for a movie I've been working on. It's called Billy and the Clonosaurus. And Apu just like tears him apart for
ripping off Jurassic Park.
For ripping off Jurassic Park. And like you have the time lapse.
Yeah.
If he's been standing there just like tearing into him for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the biggest blockbuster of all time. What were you thinking?
What were you thinking?